Hello and welcome guys. Today we are going to discuss about two very main topics, that is real-time gross settlement and the net settlement. So wherever you are, in whichever country you are, you would find this kind of payment systems around the countries, right? So but you would never have gone through or understood what exactly it is technically and use case perspective from end to end flow. So we are going to understand both of it. We have already made one video on the clearinghouse that was related to the net settlement. Basically in India we say it as NEFT, right? National Electronic Fund Transfer System. So, without wasting much of our time, let's get started with the definitions of both of it, and then um, the difference between the real-time gross settlement and the net settlement, right? Okay. So, let's start with the gross settlement today's topic. So, when we say gross settlement, what does that mean? So, gross settlement is basically nothing but it is a system in which settlement or fund transfer occurs individually after each payment transaction is made. So when I say this definition, right, what it means is gross settlement is basically nothing but a system, right, which are generally handled by the government. uh, when I say government, it's a central bank of and country, right? And uh, in this system, the settlement or fund transfer occurs individually. Basically, whenever I initiate a transaction using the gross settlement, basically in India we say it as RTGS, then in that case the fund gets settled immediately. So that is again real-time gross settlement that we will understand. So let's understand about real-time gross settlement, also called as RTGS. Very much famous in all countries. They have this RTGS, but the name would be different. That we'll come to understand later on when we understand more about the RTGS. So in India, we directly say it's RTGS. In USA, it is called as uh, Federal Reserve. Sorry, Federal Reserve is a central bank. RTGS system, it is called as FEDWIRE. Sorry, it's FEDWIRE. India, RTGS. UK, it is called as CHAPS. And European country, target 2, right? So this is what it is called in the different countries, but let's understand what exactly is the real-time gross settlement. So gross settlement definition remains the same. When I say real time, that is immediate, right away. Real time meaning right away, right? So the basic definition of real-time gross settlement is nothing but the fund transfer happens right away if funds are available in debitor account. So this implies real time, and the gross settlement basically means transaction is settled on 1-to-1 basis. So that is what the major difference between the gross settlement and the net settlement, that is in RTGS and NEFT. That in NEFT the transaction is settled based on the batches, right? Whereas the transaction in RTGS is settled on 1-to-1 basis, right? So when I say 1-to-1 basis, let's say if I am initiating a request to my bank to transfer a fund to another bank and to receive my friend Siam, right? I want to transfer, let's say, 1,000 rupees. So in that case, the central bank and the RTGS system will come into here. This is central bank, and the central bank will have this account of bank B1 and also bank B2. So if the settlement account of B1 having 1,000 rupees, then on the request, central bank, or that is a system basically which is operated by central bank, will transfer the fund of rupees 1,000 to the Siam. Finally, it will receive 1,000 rupees. Okay. So we'll understand this in a detailed manner, but this is what the meaning of a gross settlement is and the real-time gross settlement is. So let's go and understand the real-time gross settlement in a very descriptive manner. All right. So let's understand our RTGS system now, right? So as I said, central bank is what? Central bank basically is the bank of bank in any country, and basically all the banks in that particular country will have an account in the central bank in order to proceed with the RTGS system. Also, as I said, like RTGS is RTGS. Anyway, I'll cover this. RTGS is used by any countries to make sure to transfer the funds of a high amount, large amount, and yeah, for that only RTGS or payments are used basically. So let's understand this, and we'll also understand the differences between the gross settlement and net settlement later. But let's understand the clearing in the real-time gross settlement, right? So I'll take an example here. So okay, here so this is our central bank. This is our central bank, and this central bank operates a system, but that is nothing but a RTGS system. Let's say for in US, as I said, like it is Federal Reserve, sorry, FEDWIRE. Yes, just for an example. So, so now let's say we have bank A, we have bank B, we have bank C, and also we have bank D. So there are four banks. All the banks will have account with this RTGS system, basically at a central bank. Right. So all the banks A, B, C, and D. So this is a real time. But before that, let's understand. Okay, real time cross settlement. So this is the figure. And in this situation, let's say a bank A has to send 27 or 20, let's say a bank A, this is bank C. So bank A has to send 20 million uh, dollar to bank C. So in this case, it will be minus 20 million, and this is plus 20 million. So this, now bank A wants to send minus sorry, 20 million dollar to bank C using the RTGS system. Now how it happens, we'll understand step by step. So first thing first, all the banks, as I said, A, B, C, and D, right? A, B, C, and D. All banks A, B, C, and D will have account maintained at central bank called as settlement account. Right, this is first thing. Now next thing is, let's say if a customer wants to transfer a fund of 20 million, in this case, let's say, and he wants to transfer 20 million to Syam, who is holding account in bank C. So this is what the RTGS system looks like. It doesn't need a customer to initiate a transfer fund from one bank to another bank, from the account to another account, but the bank can directly send the fund from their account to another account based on the different agreement they will have, or they will do with themselves, right? So in this case, I've just taken an example where a customer initiates a RTGS transaction which holds account in bank A, and and the receiving customer is Siam, who holds account in account bank C. So Ram wants to transfer this fund urgently to Siam, who holds account in Ram wants to transfer $20 million to Syam urgently. So Ram chooses. So Ram chooses RTGS payment method, and not the Fed ACH payment in US. Basically, that is nothing but the NEFT payment. That will take basically more time. But since he is in urgent requirement, so he wants to send the transfer fund of 20 million immediately. So he chooses RTGS. So again, Ram will fill the basic details, right, and then initiates RTGS payment, and the bank A will do its validations, and then uh, uh, it will send a message to bank, that is a central bank, to instruct the bank, uh, to instruct the central bank to uh, credit Sam's account, who holds an account in bank C. So the step goes like this. Steps. So first step is Ram initiates payment using channel. It can be mobile channel or a web channel, anything online banking channel, by filling all the necessary details. Next step is bank validates the payment. That is bank A. Bank A sends instruction to RTGS system. So this instruction, right? So this instruction can be uh, uh, this instruction is basically a message. So instruction can be flat file which has this encryption, which central bank generally decides in any country to use, so that they can understand. Those are encrypted basically. The flat files basically uh, used with these delimiters to understand uh, what the payments basically. It can be flat file, it can be XML files, right? Which can be in the ISO formats as well. It can be empty standards messages, empty standard basically used, uh, empty standard used in UK basically, and in India it is proprietary message free format. So this, right, proprietary format is understood by the central banks because they have only decided what kind of messages to be sent. So bank sends instruction to RTGS system. So next thing is, now in step 4, if if uh, bank A's settlement account at central bank is having greater than or equal to 20 million, then central bank credits to bank C's bank C settlement account, right? And uh, if balance is less than equal to 20 million, it will be in pending status and processed if fund is made available. So by that time it will be in pending status and it will not be processed. This is the fifth process. Right, and finally, when the payment is received at settlement account of the bank C, so bank C will debit the settlement account and credit to CHAPS account. So this is the entire step that happens into the RTGS system. And as I said, it doesn't need to have a customer to initiate the RTGS payment. A bank can itself initiate the RTGS payment to another bank depending upon their needs or obligations, right? So one of the main advantage over uh, in RTGS system is it doesn't have a default risk. The default risk is completely eliminated. When I say default risk is completely eliminated, that means this step number 5 can easily explain. That says if balance is less than 20 million, it will not process and it will remain in the pending state. So that means the central bank or the RTGS system doesn't have to bear any kind of risk. If there is a fund, it will process. If there isn't, it will not process. That is what we call as default risk, right? Now, let's. So this is all about the RTGS system, right? And let's conclude this with the difference between the RTGS system and uh, net settlement system, right? I'll just raise this. So I'll just make a two column here. So this is our real time cross settlement, and this is our net settlement. First difference is uh, funds are transferred when transaction is processed. So basically the funds between one bank to another bank is processed immediately, right? Whenever the sufficient balance fund is available at the central bank in their settlement account, and it will be processed to another bank or to whomsoever they want to transfer, right? And in net settlement, the transactions are exchanged. Focus here. I said transactions are exchanged without transfer of funds. So understand this. Net settlement, as I already said, this is nothing but in India we say it as NEFT. In India we say it as RTGS, right? So here in NEFT, the transactions basically from uh, banks, right? And in the same example, I said like different banks. This is our central bank, right? In the last multilateral clearing, so A, B, C, D. So customers here, right? So many customers here will initiate uh, and transactions for NEFT, right? So banks will generally accumulate accumulate those transactions in predefined interval, and then they will send it to the central bank, and the central at the clearinghouse basically they will exchange uh, the transactions, right? And they will exchange the transactions. That's it. And the number two step is, I mean, the difference is there's no netting of amounts. Okay, as we have already seen in the RTGS system, there is no netting of amounts like there is no at predefined interval which happens in the NEFT or net settlement, that in a predefined time, let's say every hourly or every 2 hour, the clearing system calculates how much I mean what is the position of the particular bank. If it is a negative position, if it has to pay minus some 20 million or 27 million, so those calculation is not needed in RTGS system, because if the fund is available in a settlement account, it will process, or else it will just have an pending queue. So here, uh, multilateral nettings are done. So that means obligations among participants and positions are calculated, as we already discussed in earlier videos, multilateral clearing or net settlement. So third difference between the real-time gross settlement and the net settlement is default risk is eliminated. Here, default risk is there, that participant bank may be unable to make require payment of obligation. So remember in the last video, in that video we have mentioned like every 2 hour it will define the positions, and if the bank is at negative minus 27 million, then it has to pay it. So before that itself, the funds are already settled between the banks and the central, I mean the system basically, right? The clearing system is responsible to receive minus 27 million in the settlement account of the central bank, right? So if that doesn't happen, so default risk is high. That is what that means is. So next difference is no need to aggregate, no need to aggregate customer payment and no need to send payments in batches, since payment message is sent individually. right? So one-to-one payment, as I said, like so settlement happens as one-to-one basis, right? And in our and it is revocable. And once the payment is done, it is final and irrevocable. That is what they say. Okay. Now here in this one, bank has to aggregate. So bank has to aggregate all customer payment initiated for transfer and send on defined interval in batches. So you could see in whenever you initiate a transaction or you receive a payment from your companies, those are generally processed in batches because bulk example salary credit from employer. So those are sent in batches and you receive in those predefined times. So yeah. So next major difference is uh, used by banks for urgent and high value payment. In India, basically it starts from 2 lakhs to no limit. Uh, here in used for not so urgent and low value payment, called as I said, CHAPS in UK, RTGS in India, FEDWIRE in USA, called as NEFT in India, and FEDACH in USA. Yeah, different country will have different names, so but the process remains the same. So this is all about real-time gross settlement and the difference between the real-time gross settlement and the net settlement. And already we have discussed about the net settlement in my previous video. If you haven't watched, just surf it to my previous videos where the clearing system is defined. It is the same system defined for the net settlement. So thank you guys for watching this video. If you have any questions, do let me know in the comment section and I'll get back to you with the answers.